Is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
There's a box down in the basement, filled up to the brim, with artifacts of days gone by and history breathed in. Evidence of people who once lived along the river. They left their tools upon the ground, now the earth becomes the giver. My father took off on his bike when he was 17. He rode along the Delaware to see what he could glean from farmers' fields freshly plowed, from trails after rain, searching after arrowheads and pottery remains. The reward isn't only in the finding, it's the steps you take each day. The joy isn't always in the things you hold, but in giving back in some small way. My father had a favorite trail that crossed a hunting ground. He always wished that somewhere there an arrowhead he found. Finally, after 50 years of walking in those woods, he saw a shape he recognized lying where he stood. He brought it home, he showed it off, I held it in my hand. A little piece of history surrendered by the land. And I thought if someday I could have just one thing from my dad, it would be that black flint arrowhead he had. The reward isn't only in the finding, it's the steps you take each day. The joy isn't always in the things you hold, but in giving back in some small way. Half a month went by, and I asked him once again if I could see the arrowhead he found up in the glen. And with a twinkle in his eye, he said as he glanced down, I went up there a week ago and put it back into the ground. He said, God gave me the arrowhead I wanted all those years, but it was enough to find it. I don't need to keep it here. Maybe someday someone else will walk with wishful eyes, scan the path ahead of them and find their own surprise. The reward isn't only in the finding, it's the steps you take each day. The joy isn't always in the things you hold, but in giving back in some small way.
The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and you've just heard a song by Heidi Muller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Nice to
be
have you.
here.
And I'm going to ask you, is that a true story about your dad?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Nice story. And you have family in the audience here today, in the studio audience, and a group of friends and others who came to see you play on our show. So very nice to have them here too.
That's great. Well, we don't live too far away. So it's been nice to have a place to come to for a TV show like this. It's right in our neighborhood, practically.
The first way I found out about you was I was visiting at WNTI in Hackettstown, and Beth and Jules said, "Do you know Heidi Muller?" I said, "No." And they said, "Oh, she's great. They raved about you," and said that you just recently had moved back to the area and that I should get you on my show. So here you are.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, they've been really helpful to me. I have been back since about the fall of 2000 after spending almost 20 years in Seattle. But I grew up in Warren County and went to school there, went to Warren Hills. So it's kind of fun to be back, you know, and now I'm making new connections like with NTI. So, and I've even had some gigs in my own hometown, which never had any kind of music that I knew of before.
And what is your own hometown?
That's Washington.
There's
Washington,
a
New Jersey.
lot of Washington, New Jerseys.
Yeah,
And you're in the Warren County one.
that's right, yeah.
Great. You want to give us another tune?
Sure, yeah. This one came out of a poem. Long ago, I used to write poems on napkins in college. And a couple years ago, for the first time in many years, I did it again. And next thing I knew, it turned into this one. I felt a gypsy wind come swirling through the window. It brushed across my skin and waved away the shadow. Told me tales of wagon camps, fiddle tunes and fabled dance. It nearly left me in a trance, touched by the wind, gypsy wind. I heard hoofbeats drum like rain against the window. Wild horses run like ghosts across the meadow, bending shapes by firelight, silhouettes sway in the night, a ruby passion burning bright, touched by the wind, gypsy wind. It left me in a dream, more real upon the waking. It changed my face and hands and plans that I was making. Ancient voices in my soul whispered, "Give up your control." I raised it up and let it go, touched by the wind, gypsy wind. Ooh.
Reading through your press, you're well known for your award-winning songwriting and your beautiful voice, and we've heard some of that. But you're also well known as a dulcimer player.
That's right.
And teacher.
And I have a couple students here tonight, in fact. So.
And I guess we're going to see some of that now?
I would love to show you. I'll just put this away for a moment.
And while you're getting set up there, that was the title track on your new CD that you just played, I take it?
Mm-hmm.
And folks can find out about your recordings and your touring schedule and see all the kinds of nice pictures and quotes about you on your website, which is HeidiMuller.com. And this is the Gypsy Wind CD that I'm holding.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks. So, I have a couple of mountain dulcimers with me tonight.
That's a pretty one.
Thank you. This one is a red maple instrument, and it's made by Bill Van Dusen, who's out in Missouri. So I thought I might do a couple of fiddle tunes. Want to hear something?
Sure. right. That's some pretty fancy mountain dulcimer player you're doing there, Heidi. Now that was a medley of several tunes. I recognize the first one, Sandy River Belle, yes?
That's right, yeah.
But you'll have to fill me in after that point.
Okay. They went to Spotted Pony. Do you know, have you heard
I'm
of
not
that?
familiar with
Okay.
Spotted Pony.
And then the last little piece I threw in was an Irish tune called Cougar and Cross. So, and then I went back to Sandy River Belle to round it out.
Very nicely done. And we can mention that you have a mountain dulcimer instruction book, actually 2 that you have put out, as I understand, and information about these available at your website too.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, this one is a book of my own songs that I've written on mountain dulcimer, including the instrumentals. And then I also have a book of songs by Bill Staines that I tabbed out for dulcimer.
Nice.
So, yep. So.
Now this is another pretty dulcimer you have here.
This one is known as a sun hearth, and the holes are these blazing suns. It was created by Walter Martin, who was out in Roaring Spring, Pennsylvania, and he made 1,000 during his lifetime. He passed away a few years ago. So this is a longer dulcimer than usual. It's bigger. It's got a special sound to it. It's made of walnut with a redwood top. So I like to play this with 4 strings, which is not quite the traditional way of playing. The tradition was to use 3 strings instead. It gives you pretty nice chords, and you can finger pick on it.
Very pretty tone.
Yeah.
So what you getting ready to do for us?
Well, I thought I would do a song for the friends we didn't bring with us tonight. This is for the 4-footed friends. You didn't happen to bring one with you tonight, did you?
I don't know, I'll have to look in my pocket.
I wrote this for my cat when she turned 15. This was her birthday song. So it's called My Old Cat, and anybody who wants to sing along is welcome to come in the appropriate place. My old cat is a good old friend, the best one that I've known. I've left her meowing by the door, but she always welcomes me home. My old cat, tiger face and a Siamese hat. My old cat. My old cat was born down south, the climate got her down. She saw me coming a mile away and said, "Woman, get me out of this town." My old cat, not your average Democrat. My old cat. My old cat never tied the knot, single all her life. Tomcat Charlie came to court, but she wouldn't be any Tom's wife. My old cat, hop on up, let's have a chat. My old cat. My old cat's no traveling gal, she ain't no socialite. She'd rather read the books I read and sit on the letters I write. My old cat, not too skinny, not too fat. My old cat. My old cat's a wise one, you can see it in her eyes. When dear Abby's in a jam. She calls her for advice. My old cat, my old cat. Now why do you look at me like that? My old cat. My old cat's 100 years old. She might be 110. And when she comes back in another life, I'll bring her on home again. My old cat, my old cat. Tiger face and a Siamese hat. My old cat, my old cat, my old cat. Tiger face and a Siamese hat. My old cat. Thank you.
I always like to find out how people got interested first in the musical trail, so to speak.
Well, I've been playing guitar since I was 11. I taught myself. I had been over to Germany at a wedding with some relatives, and I saw someone play guitar over there, and it really grabbed me. Up till that time, nothing had really made me want to learn music. But I came back, and we had a guitar at home that my mom had owned. And so it was in pretty poor shape, but we got it fixed up, and I started to play that. And then I discovered folk music in high school. I had a couple of rock bands first, and then switched over to acoustic. And I really loved the work of Joni Mitchell from back then, and that had a lot to do with my direction after that. And then I was up in Boston and saw Bill Staines at a small club called Passim. And that just really did it to me from then on. You know, I started to learn the songs by the people that were playing Passim, and did a lot of the Bill Staines kinds of music. But I didn't learn dulcimer until many years later. I had a friend from college who took it up, and she actually learned about it because of a fellow who lives in Hope, New Jersey, in Warren County, who made a dulcimer, and she decided she wanted one. And I saw what she could do with it, so I went ahead and got one for myself. And that was like 1984, so I've been playing dulcimer for about 18, 19 years now.
Cool.
So, and then there weren't any teachers in Seattle. That's where I was living at the time. So someone wanted me to teach them, and I tried not to, but they kept after me. I didn't know how to teach, you know. They would see me in performance and come up to me after the performance and ask to, have lessons. So I just jumped in and started to teach, and I ended up being the main teacher in Seattle for a number of years. It wasn't until I came back east a couple years ago that I got hired to teach at some of the music camps and dulcimer festivals around the country. They thought I was closer, So, so I've been hired as far out as Kansas City area since I've been back east to teach at week-long camps, and
Nice.
then lessons and such.
Great.
Yeah.
You got another tune for us?
Sure. Yeah. This is a song that has to do somewhat with night driving in wide open spaces. There's a constellation that looks like a lopsided W in the sky that when I was a kid we called Cassiopeia's chair. I got to thinking one night when I was driving out across Washington State, if it was Cassiopeia's chair, it looked like an empty chair. And so I was trying to come up with where Cassiopeia herself might be. Nighthawks glide in the darkness, the city lights far from their flight. A cloud silhouette hangs far to the west, above us the clear spring sky. Cassiopeia, dance with Orion tonight. Cassiopeia, with a silvery light in your eyes. Hardly a car on the highway, and hardly a light on the road, just the ruby shine of coyote eyes and the midnight stars all aglow. Cassiopeia, dance with Orion tonight. Cassiopeia, with a silvery light in your eyes. Somewhere east of Othello, I saw her black velvet gown, strewn with thousands of rhinestones, and the North Star there in her crown. Cassiopeia, dance with Orion tonight. Cassiopeia, with a silvery light in your eyes. Orion is the bold hunter, a sword of 3 stars he does bear. He beckons the lady to come to his side. Your Majesty, rise from your chair. Cassiopeia, dance with Orion tonight. Cassiopeia, with a silvery light in your eyes. Cassiopeia, dance with Orion.